Right guys, this is 1500 points brigade detachment of Imperial Order 66 Guard. So my three HQs, we have the Tempestus Prime, we have the company commander and the primary saga. And then in the elite slot we have the platoon commander, a commissar, master of ordnance and 5 Jawa rattlings. And then infantry slots, we've got a 10-man squad of scions, another 10-man squad of scions, and then 4 infantry squads, all kitted out with just a flamer. Fast attack slots, we've got a single armoured sentinel with a las cannon, 2 armoured sentinels with las cannons, and 3 armoured sentinels with auto cannons. And then in the heavy support we have the manticore, a heavy weapons squad with las cannons, and another manticore, and then we've got a wing of the vendetta. So that is my 1500 points. Let's see what we're up against. Right, this is Commissar Warwick's 1500 points of bugs. So what will we have?
So overall we've got a battalion detachment, which gives us 3 command points on top of our 3, so we've got 6. This guy's going to be the warlord. We're going to take the warlord trait, which gives him just a 6 up, feel no pain. And in terms of psychic powers, we're going to give him catalyst and onslaught, and then the brood lords are also going to have catalyst. So that covers all the sort of various other bits out of the way. Talking through the list, start with this guy. He's a hive tyrant with wings, and he's got 2 monstrous bone sabers or bone swords. Then troop choices, we've got 30 gaunts. They all just have their standards scything talons. They've not got any upgrades or anything. And then the other 2 troop choices, we've got 15 gene stealers and another 15 gene stealers. And I'm quite excited for these guys because they've taken a huge buff in this edition. So I've never actually really played them before. I've played them a little bit in narrative campaigns, but in a sort of semi-competitive match this would be really interesting. I haven't mentioned the brood lords. Yeah, so with the hive tyrant we've also got 2 brood lords. Again, no upgrades on the gene stealers. They've just got rending claws. Brood lords as well, just monstrous rending claws, no upgrades. Elite choices, got 2 lictors, and again, as standards with grasping talons and rending claws and flesh hooks. They've got nothing else. Just no additional upgrades in this list really, apart from the bone sabers and wings on the hive tyrant. And then rounding the list off on the heavy support section, we've got 2 trigons. So the idea of this list is we're sort of trying things out. We want to see how the gene stealers do in this new edition. It's going to be really fun to play with them, and making the most of the fact we can now sort of deep strike and assault with the trigons and the lictors and so forth. So yeah, it should be interesting.
Right, well it looks like there's quite a few bugs there. I hope my guys have got plenty of spray cans handy. So let's go see the battlefield. Okay guys, this is the battlefield we are fighting over. There's plenty of ammo dumps and supply crates all scattered all across the battlefield. We have a fenced off walkway just here. Walkway leads onto the silos. More ammo dumps, a few rocks dotted around here and there, a couple of factories over here. So it's definitely not the same place we were fighting last time, but this could be the outskirts of that last factory complex where the Eldar took control. So this is the battlefield we are fighting across today. It's not looking too bad. Right guys, we are done deploying, it's going to be Tyrannid turn 1 first, unless I can seize. So this is how they've deployed. It's the one with the spearhead, so it's 9 inches away from the centre. They're just all grouped up round here. They've got a couple of things coming on that have burrowed out. They'll be sneaking. And him, he's right up front. He's ready for a turn 1 charge. We're playing the relic, and there is the relic. And then my deployment. I've grouped up all of my infantry right here with the special guys in the middle. One of the squadrons there of sentinels, another sentinel squadron there, with the Master of Ordnance there, Manticore tucked in behind that, and then over here we've got the Rattlings with a clear line of sight straight down there, but they'll probably lose sight soon. Manticore and Vendetta and one of the Armoured Sentinels. I have the full Tempestus Scions platoon, so basically the 2 squads and the Prime will be deep striking on later. So let's see if I can seize. No. So it's Tyrannid turn 1. Yes, Tyrannid turn 1 movement, and as you see, the Hive Tyrant is right up in our faces. But on top of that, there's been a hell of a lot of high advanced run, and these guys aren't far behind. Yes, there's a massive swarm funneling through this gap right here, right in front of our lines. And there's not a whole lot of distance between them. These guys, they just shuffled up behind the building, try and keep out of sight. But yes, that's turn 1 movement done. Let's see how they do with shooting and, well actually no, they don't got shooting. Okay, with charges then. Right, psychic phase. That bad boy right there, he tried to do catalyst onto these guys here, failed to manifest. And then this one, he tried to do smite through to one of these units, and I managed to deny that one. And then this bad boy here, he tried to do smite, and he managed to take out 3 casualties from this guy, from this unit. So that is the psychic phase done. Let's move on to assaults. Right, okay, this has been a very bloodthirsty first turn with charges. So obviously they couldn't charge. These Gene Stealers, they tried to charge and they failed. So there was command point used and they passed. They got in, rolling a 10. The Hive Tyrant obviously made it in and munched away 8 of these guys, but because they're within range of the commissar, managed to make it so I'd only lose 1 guy in the morale. And then these Gene Stealers, when they charged from way back there with the command point used, they got in. I then used 2 command points to interrupt phase so I could kill 2 of them before they fought, and then their turn, 44 attacks, they just completely annihilated the squad that was where they are standing now. So that is turn 1 for the Gene Stealers and Tyrannids. So now let's see how I can do with my turn 1. Okay, my first turn movement. This armoured sentinel has popped around the corner, getting a view down to either them or any of these. The Vendetta's just flown straight into the middle of the board because he's now got a 360 arc of fire, so he can shoot anything. These guys, they backed out of combat, 2 of them on their own. They're not really going to do a whole lot. So these armoured sentinels have popped round so they can see everything here, and the stormtroopers have not turned up. I don't want them on yet. I have a plan for them later. So let's move on to psychic phase. Psychic phase, very simple. The Primus Psyker, the Emperor, decided to do smite, closest model, yay! Went off and we took 2 wounds off, so it's now down to 8. Okay, we couldn't have asked for a more chaotic turn 1 if we even tried to ask for it. The Vendetta's obviously flown down and he's shot the back of the Hive Tyrant, who's not there anymore, but he only caused 1 wound. These guys rapid fired into the Gene Stealers, so did these guys with the orders of first rank fire, second rank fire, and managed to wipe them out. And then all the autocannons from then, the Manticores missiles, all 3 of these las cannons, these 2 las cannons, the Ratlings, this las cannon, the Vendetta, the 2 bolt pistols off the commander and the commissar, the las pistols off the platoon commander and the regular, and the Primus Psyker, shot at the Hive Tyrant. Absolutely everything shot at him. It was command points used to re-roll to manage to keep him alive. It was rolling 1 dice at a time, and literally the last roll of the turn and we managed to take him out finally. Just took so much fire. That Manticore over there then had a bit of free time, so it just took out 1 Hormigaunt. That was it. So yes, that was pretty gnarly. Command points being used everywhere to try and keep that Hive Tyrant alive, for me trying to use them to kill him, and we finally dropped. But that is turn 1, so we shall move on to Tyranids turn 2. Tyranid turn 2 movement. We have a swarm infestation. They've smashed through the fence and they are piling up in front of our lines again. This guy got a massive run off all the way from over there to up here. These guys have popped around the corner. They are now looking to get into a charge range with these armoured sentinels. And we have some reserves that have arrived. This Trigon has popped up through the soil, and then over here this one has both within 9 inches of their respective targets. So now we shall move on to psychic phase and see what he can do. Right guys, we've jumped through a couple of rounds. Psychic phase, these guys got feel no pain, and then we jumped through the assault phase. So as you see, we've lost an armoured sentinel. They didn't lose any guys, and this one's down to 2 wounds. He's still full wounds. Trigon failed to get in, and then if I just go over everything to here, he's charged in and reduced this Manticore down to 5 wounds. And then this centre phase, yeah, big mess. All these Hormigaunts, they charged in and munched up 8 of these guys. The last guy from this little 2-man squad, he's charged in and taken out 4 of these guys. But because of the commissar bubble, everyone had a leadership of 8, and obviously where they failed by 2 actually, they could only lose 1 model because of the commissar. So commissars are awesome. These 2, commissar and the company commander, they're down to 1 wound each. So yeah, could be a bit troublesome. We're pretty much all stuck in combat. I've still got command points. He's used up all of his. So now we shall move into my turn 2. Right, it looks like a mess down here, but these guys are still in combat with him. The company commander, the sergeant and the commissar have all backed out. They are all out of an inch range, and this guy, he's backed out as well, so this squad is now open and ready to be shot at. The manticore has also backed out, and he's turned around. The vendetta has flown off this way with a 360-degree arc. He's going to be able to shoot at them. And then the entire Tempestus platoon has turned up, ready to shoot some gaunts in the bomb. So we'll move on to orders and shooting and see how that turns out after psychic. Okay, a few orders went off. This guy is back in the fight. He's already shot his pistol, ready to charge in again. These guys were ordered to fix bayonets, so they've done their fight phase. They didn't get any wounds off him this time. These guys shot their lascans into these little gribblies. I don't think they killed anything. Lascannons from these guys shot over to this guy and missed completely. His manticore missile rocket came over here with the help of this lascannon and these 6 lascans, reduced him down to 2 wounds, so that's not too bad. And my Tempestus squad, where they've now got hold of the objective, they've shot through. I failed to give the objective, give the order, so it's just single shots, but we still managed to mow off the back line here, which has reduced these guys down immensely. But because of him, they're still fearless. So now we'll move on to fight phase and see what I can pull out here. Okay, with all these guys charging in, the platoon commander, he's now down 1 wound, the sergeant's untouched, these 2 guys charged in. We mowed down loads of these hormagaunts, so they are slowly reducing in number. This guy, he's untouched, but he's only managed to kill 3 of my guys, so yeah. This armed sentinel's down to 1 wound, 1 whole point remaining, so he is, sorry, 1 wound. So he's hanging on, but he's unable to do any damage to these guys. And then over here, the Trigon is down to 2 wounds, but the armoured sentinel is gone. It didn't blow up, so there's no mortal wounds going around, but it's now turn 4. Yeah, I think it's turn 4 for the...
Oh, going to 3, I think.
3, okay. Tony's turn. We have the objective, but they have a couple of lictors to come on. Let's see what happens. Alright, Tony's movement. This guy has moved 9 inches up. He's obviously eyeing a large target. He has scooted right across there, right next to my guys, and the lictors have turned up, hidden in the shadows, just in between the commander and the vendetta, and he is just out of range from these guys. So now we'll see what they do in psychic and then shooting. Okay, moving through the rest of the turn. These guys have charged in and annihilated that squad that was there. The Lictor and the Tempestus Prime are now locked in combat, not a single wound each. This Trigon has still got full complementary of health, of wounds. He's took off 1 wound off of the Master of Ordnance and 6 off of the Manticore. He's wiped out his single guy and just moved back. These guys wiped out the Armoured Sentinel and just pushed up. These guys took out that last platoon commander and the sergeant that was in there. They didn't touch the armoured sentinels. The Trigon charged in here and took off another couple of wounds, so we're still fine there. So let's see if we can turn things around and try and get this victory in, shall we, in our next turn. Right guys, this vendetta is turned off. He's shot at the Trigon that was here and has killed it. The sniper's shot through here because it's character, they could do it. Failed to hit completely. These guys, they've got the objective, the relic. They're just trying to run away at the moment. They're not going to be able to get away because of him. He's still stuck in combat, because I was planning on killing him, but then I forgot I needed to have the order to shoot at him. My bad. Las cannons here, they shot out and did nothing. These guys are still locked in combat. There's no way they could back up at the moment. They're right up against the table edge, so they are literally stuck in combat until the bitter end. And these three units, they have just pushed up slightly. But yes, we are going to move on to combats. Right, combats. A couple more Gants died. Armoured Sentinels are still fine. This guy has been reduced down by one more wound. He's been reduced by another 2 wounds, and Trigon's still untouched. I've got a couple wounds apiece here, so that's still going fairly even. And now we'll move on to Tony's turn 4. See what they can come up with. It's a fairly even matched game. I've still got some heavy hitters back here, but the relic is slowly being dragged and being chased at the same time. We've got a bulk of their force here, which I can see annihilating its lot. But can they hold them up long enough to be able to win the game? We shall. Right, so combat phases. This Trigon's still untouched. These guys are still hanging in there. This chappie, he did a charge right the way around here and took out the company commander and the commissar, and was consolidated back to there. Hormagaunts, they lost one. These armoured sentinels are still just hanging around. He's charged in, wiped out most of them guys. I chose not to pile him because you can actually get to choose now. He took out the lictor, so he's standing in the middle of all of this and this combat. So he's not in a very good position, but hopefully he will help me win. We will see. Right, okay, let's move on and see how my turn can go. Right, this game's turned upside down. The platoon commander gave out an order for these guys to move, and they pulled the objective as much as they possibly could. The platoon commander then gave himself an order to move, just to get through that gap and extend this line as much as possible. The Vendetta fired down and killed off the prime that was there. This prime was shot at by the snipers and the manticore, but they failed to do anything, so I charged in with the sergeant and the las cannon team that was there. It was actually the las cannon team that took out his last wound, so go las cannons. And then this Trigon has munched through that last dude, Master of Ornaments and the manticore, so it's still anyone's game. We're going into Tyranid's turn 5. These Hormagaunts are still locked in combat. He's still got all of his wounds, but I've got a lot of firepower back here. And then these guys are really quick, so we know how they can get up to there really easily. So we shall have to wait and see how this one turns out. It's into Tynid, turn 5. Righto, this is going into a nail biter. I need the game to finish after the end of my next turn. So Trigon has come in and smashed them 2 armoured sentinels, them 2 4 hormagaunts. They're obviously extremely happy they're not in combat with them anymore. They're now staring down the face of 2 las cannons and a lowly sergeant. The ratlings back here, they're still sat there with the manticore, and the vendetta still there. But then these guys, they managed to charge through and munch that commander, and that leaves this squad in holding the objective, the relic. So I've got my turn to do now, and then I need the game to end. It's a big one because if they can move only to up there, they will catch them. There is no stopping them. So I will need the game to end after my next turn, and let's see what I can do in that turn. Right guys, that is game. We played through the entire turn. Yeah, these guys here, they pretty much didn't get shot at all. Everything shot at this guy who's not there anymore. So it is a win, because even if it went to turn 7, there's no way these 2 guys can get over there, and then he would move on and take it back again. So it's either a minor victory or a major victory, whichever one. But that is a victory to the Guard. So Guard are definitely doing a lot better in 8th than they did in 7th. So good game.
Thanks very much.
And we shall come back another time for another Commissar Warwick battle report. Thanks for watching.